3, 2, 1, showtime!
Oh, CO, hello. I'm Cade Thomas, and this is Double Feature Movie Club. I am joined this week by Diane and Kenna. How you guys doing today?
Hey,
great.
Perfect. How's your weekend been, Diane?
Well, a lot of movies involved. Did watch a lot of movies. That's about all I did this weekend was watch movies.
Yeah.
Matter of fact.
You know what I have been watching? I don't know what you guys have been watching, like TV show wise, but I discovered, I guess, I don't know, it was this last week. I don't know why I said discovered. It's been something that people have talked about, but I think it's no longer being talked about. But Dope Sick, I've been watching on Hulu. I don't know if you guys watch that. It's
No.
it stars Michael Keaton, and it's about the OxyContin, and about how Purdue Pharma, how the FDA mislabeled it and said it was not as addictive as it was, and obviously it decimated communities. It's a very dark show, but my God, that might be Michael Keaton's best performance.
Did he win an award recently?
Yeah, he won a Golden Globe.
Yeah.
It's a amazing performance. It's got a lot of people in it. Rosario Dawson's in it, and a few other people. Will Poulter, is that his name? The eyebrow guy. Yeah. So it's good. We recommend.
The eyebrow guy to me is Eugene Levy.
Oh, he's the eyebrow guy to you?
Oh yeah, he is the eyebrow guy.
Yeah, he's the eyebrow guy to me.
Mm-hmm. I've always thought the eyebrow girl was with Cara Delevingne. She has the weird eyebrows.
Yeah, for sure.
She's the eyebrow girl.
No, she just has really strong.
I probably shouldn't say yes.
It's not weird.
Not
That's
weird.
right, Kenna. Those are strong.
Yes.
I watched What About Pam?
Oh,
with Renee.
yeah.
That I think it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That one is going to be good. It was on, what is it, NBC Friday night? Yeah. So I watched the first episode of that.
It's weekly. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, it looked interesting.
It's a weekly. It's a they're using like a Dateline format. They even have the guy from Dateline as the narrator for it. So it was pretty interesting. It was pretty cool. Renee Zellweger. I mean, she is
that's
so good.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I knew I'd seen previews for it, but I couldn't remember who was the star in it.
Yeah, I could see why she signed up to do it. She plays a pretty fun character.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. Psychotic, but fun.
It did not even look like Renee Zellweger in the preview for it.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. She's wearing a fat suit. I mean, she's in her whole personality. It's just incredible. She's doing an amazing job with it. But yeah, that was fun to watch.
And I don't know. I guess we'll talk about right before we went live. We learned of the passing of William Hurt, a brilliant character actor in so many TV shows and movies. Most recent thing I saw him in. I don't know if you guys ever watched. He was in an episode. He was in an episode or two of. Oh God, what's that called? Mythic Quest. It was a Apple TV comedy thing. It's by the people who did It's Always Sunny, but but it's about like video game industry or whatever. But he plays like an old rival of F. Murray Abraham. F. Murray Abraham is in the show as a character, and he's great in it. He came in for an episode, and you kind of get the backstory in one, and he comes in and it's a great role of his, and he's been in obviously a lot of other things. Broadcast news, great, and for people in the media, I don't know if you ever saw broadcast news, Kenna. That's a good one for how news stations work and everything, and inspired a lot of people to join communications, if you will. Yeah,
That's true.
Diane, you have anything to say?
No, it's just kind of heartbreaking. You know, that was the Big Chill. That was the Children of a Lesser God, Kiss of the Spider Woman. The huge movies that he was in, and like you said, character actor. But he also did Body Heat, and I wouldn't call that necessarily a character role per se, but he was very good in it. I remember it well.
Yeah, no, he was very subtle. Like he was a much more subtle. He wasn't a flashy actor. You know, he always he played it straight and played it with like a heart. All his stuff was really, really grounded with a heart to it that he was able to always bring out. Yeah, I don't know.
I was trying to see if there might be any movies he might have seen him in, Kenna, just because he was in Michael. Did you see Michael with John Travolta, where John Travolta plays an angel? Oh, you've got to watch that. It's a great movie. Great soundtrack. Sorry.
He was in. Did you say you like M. Night Shyamalan movies? Did you tell me that, Kenna? He was in The Village.
Yeah.
He was in The Village.
Oh, okay.
He was.
Yeah.
He was in The Village.
Yeah.
Cool.
And he was in the Marvel movies too, if you're familiar with the Marvel movies.
Yeah, he was in a lot of really good movies. The Accidental Tourist. It just, I'm looking down at a list of movies he's in. I mean, I'm having to scroll and scroll and scroll. So, I really hate that. We lost a good one there. Yeah. He was in The Hulk.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Thaddeus Ross. That's what he's been.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
The general, and he was kind of being built up as like a adversary. In the comics, he's the Red Hulk, and he leads the team of Thunderbolts, and he was in Black Widow most recently as a villain of sorts. Yeah. Or kind of a secondary villain or whatever. He was in the intro. Okay. So what the movies that we're discussing, someone put William Hurt, big movie star in his time, yes. So we're discussing today, first, The Bling Ring, and then Bad Words. Those are the two movies that we're here to discuss. None of us had watched any of these movies prior to this week. This is our first time watching these movies. Both of them released in 2013. It's interesting how parallels come up when we randomly pick these. These are randomly put in a list. Last week was horror, and this week lighter fare, I guess you would say. Not as heavy. Would you guys agree?
Oh,
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I guess we'll jump right on in. I don't. Anything else you guys want to say up top before we jump right on into it?
Okay. I love this.
I'm ready to talk about this.
Oh, go ahead, Diane. That sounds like a positive thing you're saying.
I love this book club. I mean, movie club.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a movie club. We get to sit here and watch a lot of these movies and discuss it. Like, it's a fun way of moving through these things that I've wanted to see, and we get to discuss it and talk about it. A lot of times in the world today now, we see these movies and it's like, oh, have you watched it? And then like no one's like, oh no, and then you have to add it to your list. And it's not like even like we're talking about these movies of different things that we've watched, but and we're like, oh yeah, and I've heard about it, and there's just so much stuff out there. It's nice to sit here and talk about a thing, and we've all seen it. I don't know. I find that interesting.
True. I agree.
Yeah.
I think I was out of focus. I'm changing my focus. Okay.
I'm always the one too that's never seen the movies because I
Mhm.
wasn't allowed to watch movies that much when I was growing up. So,
Mhm.
these movies come up and it's like, oh, have you seen this? And I'm always like, no.
And now when someone says, "Have you seen Bling Ring?" you'll be
I
able to
will
say yes.
Yep.
I will say yes, Cade. I will.
You'll link to our discussion of this, and here's all that I want to talk about that movie, right there.
Yeah. And here's my opinion.
You just play it up at a party when someone brings it up. Oh, did you see the Bling Ring? I did.
Yeah.
And then you click play, and then you just
Let me show you.
Great. We'll jump in. They'll jump into our feature presentation, little graphic, and then afterwards, Kenna's going to tell us the basic plot of the Bling Ring. There's a lot there, and so much plot. And then we're going to jump into our conversation. So here we go. Our feature presentation.
So, Bling Ring, really interesting movie. So essentially, what happens is there are a group of, I think, 5 teenagers living in Hollywood. And it kind of starts off where they are pilfering through their neighbors, friends, houses, kind of petty theft, which then eventually escalates into full-blown robberies of celebrities. The cast or the kids involved, I mean, this was based on a true story, so they were all based on real people and real events that happened in Hollywood.
Great. I didn't. That was a quick ending. I thought there was more to that sentence.
Yeah. No, I always give a very brief synopsis.
No, yeah. It might be important. Directed by Sofia Coppola, the daughter of Francis Ford
Cade.
Coppola. Yeah. This is an open environment. It's okay to say you've never seen a Sofia Coppola movie, but have any of you seen a Sofia Coppola movie? And if so, what?
I don't think I have.
You would ask me that. I mean, she's been around forever.
I don't think I've seen it, but if this, and I read articles on it, that this is kind of like her signature style, and if that's the case, then I don't think I need to see any more Sofia Coppola movies.
I honestly think that this might be considered her worst movie. Okay. I think that Yes.
No, Marie Antoinette was her worst movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
although she wrote this one, so not only did she direct it, she wrote it. So
I think it's always like weird because it's like always shocking that her movies might not be great or whatever. People are like, oh, that's kind of odd. Because I remember On the Rocks kind of was like one that people were like, oh, that's not great. That's shocking. Because I think everyone thinks of Lost in Translation when they think of Sofia Coppola.
Yeah.
And so everyone's like, how could someone who made Lost in Translation not know how to, or whatever.
She did the Virgin Suicides.
Yes, and I've seen the Virgin Suicides, and that's an extremely good movie. That's a and it has like the tone right. It's an experience.
Tonally, are they the same as this film?
No, I don't know. No, she does seem to always go for like a feeling. Like that seems to be kind of always the thing that she's trying to strive for, which I love, and I do like that she's trying to capture a feeling in her movies, and that's oftentimes the strongest part of them. Is you have Virgin Suicides was brilliantly captured it, and I don't know, Lost Translation obviously, and I don't know, yeah, it's in this one it certainly was a movie of its time. It certainly captured that it captured that yeah. That
I
makes
think
sense.
where she might have missed it just a little bit was these kids wanted to live a lifestyle that was just within their reach, but they weren't allowed to have. You
Yeah,
know, it's
yeah.
like being a kid in a candy store and you can have the gumdrops, but not the chocolate on the second row because it's reserved for someone else. So
Yeah, they're
it's
on the
because
peripheries of the of the film industry, and like
yeah.
in the real life sort of story. I don't know if you guys looked into that at all. Like they're all
Oh,
almost like they're like they were on like episodes of like different TV shows, or they were
hmm
they were on like they were kind of they were trying to be actors, and there's a bit of that with Emma Watson character of like her trying to be like a model, right? That's just sort of said a few different times. Um, and I think that that's a little bit more interesting of them like trying to like I it's weird like so much time is devoted to them just running through these houses. That's like the majority of this movie is them just going
Yes.
through the houses and grabbing things. But it would have been much more interesting if that was a little bit de-emphasized and we kind of got into the why. That was always my like it was like why is the why so heavily de-emphasized in this movie? Um
I think she tried to bring it in with, in Leslie Mann, who plays the mom of Emma Thompson and her
mhm.
friend, that with her spirit board about Angelina Jolie and her
Yeah.
traits, and then they have the dinner table where they have the discussion about how did your audition go, and
Mhm.
so there's a lot of emphasis with at least those two characters of you know trying to make it in Hollywood. But
Yes.
she opens it with them, at a club, and in this sequence with this club, she has the girl from Spider Man, the original Spider Man. What's her
Oh,
name?
Kristen Dunst.
Yes, Christian Dunst walks by. There's Paris Hilton. They're in the same club with these celebrities,
Mhm.
and to me, it was almost like when you talk about bling ring. It's a ring of thieves, but it's also like a brass ring that they just were not close enough to get to.
Yeah.
So that's leads into a lot of their motivation of why they decided they were going to do this. But I think it starts off with this thrill of all these wealthy kids that they're around that, like you said, Kenna, that one of them is, who do you know that's out of town? Oh, let's go,
Yeah.
scoop out their house
Well,
and
the
see
thing
what
is
we
too
can
that
find.
none of these kids are like they're all already wealthy.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like even though they're already wealthy and they're already kind of involved in this world, like they're still striving to be more. They're still striving to
Mhm.
be a part of
Mhm.
this world of like the rich and famous, like they're just so enamored with it that, it's just all about going in and getting those items that make you that person,
Yeah.
the bling.
Mhm.
The Bling. Okay. Let's jump into our top three of this movie.
Top three things
Top
I
three.
hated because I've got that list.
Overall, I mean, like I guess we could say up top. I mean, did we like this movie? Did we what was our overall before we jump in?
No, I was not a fan of this movie.
What about
I
you,
really
Diane?
wasn't.
Yeah.
The script was the most ridiculous thing in the world to me. Like,
What was the
it was like
script?
the quotes from the original people carried the entire script, while the whole rest of it was the one kid saying, "Let's get out of here," and then saying, "I know, right?" to like everything. And I was just like, it seems like Sophia Coppola has never actually spoken to a teenager in her life. Like, I don't know, like, all the dialogue was so ridiculous to me. Like, it was trying way too hard, and there was not enough of it there. Like, there was no stuff, like, substance to any of
I
it.
mean, that was almost the point, though, right? That's so, like I do think that perhaps the point we have a comment here that like it's kind of meant to sort of be a little bit superficial. Like that's the sort of idea was to sort of and like and there was a way to sort of
Which
I
could have
think
been fine, but to me, it just flattened the whole movie out,
um,
especially like with the performances. I just didn't. It wasn't anything. Everything to me felt very flat.
Emma Watson did some choices there, though, right? Like she was doing the whole thing, like
until the very end, I had no interest in her.
I don't know.
They were all pretty interchangeable until you got to the very end, in the last act, where she.
I was like, I don't even know who these people besides Emma Watson are.
I was so.
There's a guy.
Mm-hmm. There was a few things that shocked me about the movie. That was it, just in the sense of like I couldn't believe.
Was it that the whole thing was shot in a medium wide shot? That was shocking to me as well.
Yeah, that's you're absolutely right. It was. There was absolutely no close-ups. You're right. It was. That was funny.
Not a single one.
No, it was shocking about the choices that were like. How there was like no plot was the biggest thing was like how bare bones the plot was and how like loosely strung together this was of just like let's just get him into another house, and I don't know why that was like the important part, but like that was always trying to like let's get him into this just it's all filler until we get into these houses, and it's like there's nothing that even happens at these houses that's all that's interesting. And I'll tell you, I looked at the thing and I was like, this movie has gone absolutely nowhere. And I looked at it and it was 51 minutes into the movie and nothing happened.
Yep.
Not a single thing happened. And I'm like, we're in the middle of another house.
They went into closets and they were like, do you like this? I like this. Oh, this is Chanel. Oh, this is Dior. Like they're just like naming like brands and being like, I like this person's style. Like, awesome. And they do that the entire movie.
And it's like I get it, like, like on the description it calls it a satirical movie. And it's like, I mean, like you kind of got to do a little bit more to earn that title. I mean, like, you kind of got to do a little bit more work there than just because like I like on the surface level, if you explain that stuff, it would be like good. Like I would be like the idea of making these people incredibly superficial and incredibly like that, good. But like the movie doesn't have to be. Like the characters can be, but you kind of have to put them in things and whatever and make it like the movie shouldn't be that way. The movie shouldn't be basic and whatever and shallow and everything. Like your characters can be, but the movie that these characters are in shouldn't be. There should be a little bit more there.
I think Ava said that, and I agree with her. The mother was the most interesting character, Leslie Mann.
Yes.
I mean, she at least, she had a vision. We might not all understand it.
Yeah.
She had the best line in the entire movie, though.
What was that?
It's time to get up. It's time for your Adderall. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was great.
She's one of my three. She's one of my top three things is Leslie Mann's character.
Mm-hmm. She was really. She does the ditzy mom so well.
And like, not even like of that time, like how big the book The Secret was huge to that group of people, and like having that to be like her main characteristic, and like that's because of course she would be, and that sort of. In all honesty, it was a really that part is the only time I really got like, okay, now that's satirical. That's actually there's some satirical things there with that character of like really poking fun at that type of person, and I just kind of wish everyone was doing that, and like everyone else was like playing it like her and Emma Watson were the only one that were playing it satirically, and if everyone was on that level of doing it that way and playing it that way, there might have been the ability to kind of go further with this movie, and the performances elevated it, whereas everyone else was playing it straight. They were playing it like this was just like a normal characters and everything, and I don't know. That seemed a little odd.
It really seemed like a bad student film to me. Like really, I was like, why is Emma Watson in this movie?
Well, like there's scenes like it
probably read better.
Yeah. The other shocking part of it was that Emma Watson wasn't the star From all I always thought that she was the star of the thing. From what I've seen of trailers, what I've seen of people talking about how that was a great performance and everything, like, and then you have Leslie Mann playing the mother, and it's like, oh, you just assume that she's the star of it, but she's not. And that's
it probably
weird.
worked out better for her career to not be the star.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was an odd choice that we got to know this side character and her personal life a lot better than we did the main two characters.
Well, that person has gone on. She has a podcast now, and she's, well, anyway, you can read her story if you want.
Yeah, the real life person.
The real life person has gone on, and she didn't try to, like, hide herself. She's out there, man.
Yeah.
So that might be
She probably should have tried to hide herself.
The rest of them change their names. They're like,
No.
Okay.
Okay.
She probably should have gone that route.
What was the other? What was some three? We'll quickly go through these. Kind of. What was one of your?
Honestly, concept wise, I think that it's a great idea to do a movie about this story. I think it's a cool, interesting story, and to find out that it's like real, you know. I just wish somebody besides Sofia Coppola had done it. I think it could have been done so much better.
I hate to point out just her, because she has made great movies, and like on paper, like, you know, Virgin Suicides, Lost in Translation, Sofia Coppola doing this project would seem like, oh yeah, that's great. And on paper, it even seems great. And that's kind of why this was on this list, even though it did have, it says it gets mixed to positive reviews. So it's like
mixed to negative for me.
And it's like, and I get it, like, and it boy, does it capture that time period so well, though. Like that was that era, though. That part I really did like that of those people.
When did this happen?
So I mean, the movie comes by in
9,
yeah,
8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
Is when it happened.
Okay.
Yeah, and the movie's 2013, and it's like, it's weird because like it takes place a little bit, you know, obviously before it actually the movie was really, and so 2009. I would say that's an accurate time in which that.
But she finally, at the end, you know, at least brought out that these people have security systems, like Ava said, you know, didn't they have security systems? At the beginning of the movie, you're like, you know, there's cameras.
Yeah.
You know there are. So why is all this still happening? Well, at the end, she kind of puts it together. Oh, look, we found these people at this place and this place and this place and this place. So it's the same group of people. And they're all on camera. But it's like these kids didn't know there were cameras. How could you not know there were cameras in these wealthy celebrity homes? That kind of surprised me that they wouldn't know it.
Yeah. That's no, I think that they even said it at one point, like, because this has a stupid framing device of them. Who are they talking to? Are they talking to investigators? They're not they're at their homes.
No, they're talking to the Vanity Fair lady.
Yeah. Okay. That's
right.
The
interview that the whole script was based on.
But she only really has a scene with Emma Watson's character, right? There's got the actual Vanity Fair.
There's another one.
She does with the guy.
Oh, okay.
She does with the guy.
Yeah.
Toward the beginning, even it's like, you know, he has a couple of conversations with her.
Yes, I mean it's sprinkled throughout the conversation, but I didn't think that we ever saw the Vanity Fair lady except for when she was talking to Emma Watson, but I might be wrong there.
No, we saw her with him too.
Okay.
At the end, I believe it was him.
There was a point there that you brought up that I was like, oh, that I don't know, but
that maybe he talked about it, that they knew there were cameras, but they didn't think anybody would notice.
Yes, he said that like they never got caught, you know, and that sort of kind of what it was like, oh, this is fine because we keep not getting caught. And there was that one instance where they were able to, like, whenever it did get out that this security camera and it was posted, you know, everywhere, and it was on the local news or whatever, nothing happened from it. And so they just sort of were like, oh, well, if that was, you know, it kind of gives you this false sense of security that like, oh, well, if we got away with it that time, then whenever there was a security camera and we were put all over the news, then we're going to get away with it continuously. You kind of
when they broke into the glass house
brings me
where
to
we didn't actually
one of my top 3. This is one of my top 3 is that one shot. That one shot where it's just a slow push in on that house is amazing.
I was grateful to not see another closet. But I loved how they took the lights.
With the same exact shoes and the same exact necklaces.
They kept the camera on the house. You saw the lights come on as they were going through it. And then they turned the lights off, which I thought was interesting. But they go into a different door and come out a different door. So, you get the sense of movement, but the camera is still the whole time. I like that shot. I thought that was pretty cool. I even made a note that I did.
I read after I'd already picked this all out, and this is IMDb trivia, so it might not be 100% accurate, but there's often sources and stuff. But they said that Sofia Coppola wanted to cut that scene in the final cut. That it was ultimately she was like, I don't think this is working. I'm going to cut this scene, and the editor is like, please don't. This is actually one of the best parts of the movie. And then, and then later,
the only thing that is working, Sophia. The only thing.
And it has, I guess, since been praised. That shot has been considered one of the great shots of the definitely of the movie, obviously, because it's an atrocious looking movie.
Thank God for that editor and denying Sofia Coppola's filmmaking instincts.
So it's shot on digital, obviously. It's definitely a that was another shocking thing, like I guess of its time as well, but like it was a digital age. It was about the new thing. So I kind of like it, but a lot of digital grain. It's really like blown out in a lot of scenes and just a real grainy digital look in a lot of scenes. Yeah. I don't know.
What did you think of
the audio to be muffled?
I didn't notice.
For me, the dialogue was challenging. It was quiet. It almost felt like the mix was messed up.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything, but I did remember just all of a sudden the gun scene. What was the point of the gun scene? There's a lot of these things.
Maybe we should have cut that. Maybe we should have cut that, Sophia.
Yeah, like it's weird.
Especially when it went off finally.
Yeah, like it was like, is this thing ever going to? Boy, is that an intense scene? And then it doesn't, and then like it's brought to another scene, and like in a character that we just like, it's just. It was bizarre.
There.
Yeah, and then it actually finally goes off.
Holds their hand, and they just start making out, and it's like, okay, we don't need to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, like
Guns
so a
on
gun.
The floor, it's over.
There was an extended, like almost like I would say it's at least a minute solid, if not like pushing 2 minutes of like, is this gun going to go off? And then cut away, nothing happens. So you're like, why was the point of that? And then you get cut to immediately to this other scene. The gun's still there, and the gun goes off in a residential area, and there's no consequences.
There's no consequences the entire movie.
But until they do, and then they got some pretty harsh consequences. I felt like I don't know. That was the one.
Really?
I don't know. I felt fine about it.
They could have stayed in jail a little bit longer, and not even all of them got in trouble. Hell, they had their 13-year-old sister climb through a doggy door. Come on.
So they were minors, and they all served at least a year, or not all of them, the ones who were caught, served at least a year in prison. For stealing from rich people. I don't know. Mega wealthy. They can, I don't know. I didn't think that
Hell,
was.
That one girl was in with Lindsay Lohan. It couldn't have been that bad.
I don't. Yes, you're right. You're right. It's not as. Let's be clear here. Bring up a good point. There's tons of much more injustices in the world, and that there are. This is not on the list of things of which, but it did seem like So she got it.
Yeah,
but only served.
And you're right, David. Emma Watson's character got a year in jail, but only served 30 days.
Yes. And, you know, certainly.
Yeah, I don't know. Did any of them serve their full sentence?
No, I don't think none of them served their full sentence. But I do think the guy served a year. I think he served a year because he was sentenced to longer than a year, I believe is what happened.
Oh, 3 years. Yeah. He got 3 years, and I think he served like 18 months, is what it said.
Which, again, I don't know. Like, I think that they should go to jail for their horrible personalities. I think we should have a jail we should put people away for just being just the worst people. But I don't think this should have been a crime.
At least that came across is how horrible these, like, insufferable and vapid these people were. Like, I can give it that.
That's true.
Anything else that we?
I had no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who?
He only had really one scene where he bought the Rolex watches.
Oh,
with Stevani's ex-husband.
Oh, I didn't know that was him.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
I didn't either. At that point, I wasn't keeping up with the characters anymore because I was like, these people are all the same.
He played the club owner. He was in the beginning and then in that one scene. And then there was one scene that I noticed that I really liked. It was when they were driving down the road and all you saw was the
road
dashboard of the car in the road. It was from the driver's perspective, and you saw the dashboard and then the road. But it wasn't long enough. But it was I like that scene. That was a good scene.
Mm-hmm.
I know,
it was where you could actually understand them. They were actually talking to each other, and you could understand what they were saying. Yeah,
I know, right?
They said that, a lot.
Apparently, all kids say to each other.
I know, right?
And like the language they use, like it was so ridiculous. Oh, hell's yeah, for sure. And I'm just like, what? Who talks like this? None of us ever actually talk like that.
So, okay. My biggest problem is that this movie is and then this happened movie, and then not if and because and consequences and because of this, because like that how great movies are sort of structured. It's just like this thing happens, and then this thing happens, and then this other thing happens to these characters, and just nothing like. There was a car crash in this movie that had literally no consequences.
Yeah.
It gets written off in the next scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, there was so, I mean, I guess that's, like, you can sort of say, maybe that's the point in some of the situations. Maybe it's these people live without consequences. That's sort of the point of the thing. And, and so sometimes I'm like, fine.
Which great, but that doesn't make for an enjoyable movie to me. Like I was just like, this is not interesting to me to just watch people like throw around slang that doesn't even really make sense and like not sound like real people. Like none of the interactions were genuine, and it was just like.
I do think that was. I think still of its time. I mean, there were I knew people that talk somewhat similarly to this. I think that was in that era, and with those people, I feel that way.
You guys keep saying that era. This is still the era. Wasn't that long ago. It's only 10 years ago.
They have a knockoff Facebook. I love that their Facebook that they were using, each person's Facebook profile had their name as like the logo. I don't know if that bothered me so much. That was just like a weird thing because like in the top where the Facebook would be said, it said their personal name. So like they logged on and in the Facebook font and everything, it would say Chloe or Mark. It would just be like, so this thing would update to be, that was a weird one. That was just like, okay, I get it. Facebook's not going to give
Cade,
information.
I think that's the way Facebook used to look. I think you were just too young. I think that's what it looks like.
They weren't on MySpace, so therefore,
So, but the biggest thing that
you guys
frustrated
don't know what
me.
MySpace is.
I never had a MySpace. Did you have a MySpace, Kenna?
I did have a MySpace. Yeah, I did.
Good for you. I'm so proud.
Thank you.
You have an old soul.
I mean,
aging gracefully. Thank you.
Okay, can I just tell you guys what bothered me the most?
Mm-hmm.
When she's driving the Porsche, which is a 5-speed manual transmission, which they used in the sound.
No consequences.
If you listen to the sound, 5-speed manual shift, car, Porsche.
Mm.
She never shifted that car. That drives me crazy. When they have a car and they say, okay, we're going to do the sound as if she's shifting it, but they never show her shifting it. She's just driving along. Yeah, she never shifts the car. Drives me crazy.
So the thing at the end of the day that bothered me the most about this movie is there should have been it's script writing. It like some of this stuff seems like it was cut. Like this movie seems like things were cut in order to just focus on the burglaries, which is still bizarre to me that that's what you focus in on. But it seems that way because like it's set up. That
was the most salacious part.
Yeah,
it's who they were robbing.
Yes,
it wasn't them. It was who they were robbing.
Exactly. It's set up later, and it's kind of hinted at a few times, but it's never really said until really afterwards that how much Lindsay Lohan meant to this character. And like it was then afterwards, like that was her idol. And it's like, and like they finally get there was literally no setup to why didn't she go to Lindsay Lohan's house just to begin with? Like why? And it just sort of happens, and that's your final one. That's your big one that you do, and like it should have been built up. This is your final one. This is one that they've always wanted to, and then planning it should have been a bigger thing. Like that's your big centerpiece is getting into Lindsay Lohan's house, and yet it just sort of they get out of one house and then they're like, oh, what about Lindsay Lohan? Oh sure, and then they just break into Lindsay Lohan's house, and then like that's the one that's the turning point of the movie, and later they're like, boy, she was so great, she was who I looked up to and everything, and made this big deal about it and everything, and she should have been the whole centerpiece of the whole thing. That should have been the point, was to build up to that. Or rework it to where Paris is, because Paris Hilton, she gave her, like, that's Paris Hilton's house in this movie, and she cameoed in it. Like, you can shift it where that's the case, see if you can play with that a little bit more, if she's the one who says it, because they obviously played with the facts a lot in this case. It just seemed, it seemed, that was the biggest problem I had with it, of just, like, a structuring point, of, like, that should have been your whole point, was that one. And it wasn't. That
explains why the movie cost $8 million to make. I wonder how much Paris charged them to let her use her closet in her home.
Which it makes sense why they kept going back to that one.
Each time my face appears, it's $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It makes sense that was their best location. That's why they kept going back to it. It kind of, it I don't know. Anything else? I guess we got to get our ratings. Everyone,
let's rate this sucker.
Okay, so we'll go Diane. What are you going to give this?
Do I have to give it a star?
You have to give it some sort of star.
Do I have to?
I mean, you could.
Okay, well, I'd give it a half a star.
Half a star.
Here's how I look at it. If you have not seen this movie and you're just looking for a movie to pass the time with, skip this one.
Yeah.
Don't pick this movie. This movie would be a waste of your time.
Great.
A waste of the time you're just trying to pass.
Yeah, you're just looking, spend some time on the couch watching a movie. Don't pick this movie.
Okay, Kenna, what are you going to give it?
Am I wrong?
No, you're not. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
You're not at all.
Mm-hmm. Kenna, what are you going to give it?
I will echo Diane's comment, say that this did seem like an incredible waste of time to watch, but I'm glad we can at least make something productive out of it with this podcast, and give it 2 thumbs down.
I had that ready because I assumed that was what was going to be.
Diane was already doing it. She was like,
I was trying to time it, to be with her on
it. So I'm going to, similarly to you guys, I'm just going to simply give it the yawn emoji. It was a boring movie.
Oh, nice.
I felt myself like, and it shouldn't have been. I could have given it a little bit worse, and I think there were some redeeming things. Leslie Mann's character, if you just cut out all of her scenes in this movie and make like a 5-minute short film, that'd be amazing.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, you would just cut out that and put her scenes in it, and I would be like, wow, No, wow, and it would be great. That's not what this movie was. So it was boring, and like you said, like I guess if you were doing something and it was just on the TV in the background and you weren't paying attention, you were doing other things and you just never even really hardly ever looked at the TV, then it would be fine. But if you're actually wanting to look at something and be invested, it's not that. It is not that. I kept wanting the movie to be good.
Maybe a movie to fall asleep to.
Yeah.
Or catch up on your social media.
Yeah, just for some background noise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to head in. We have now reviewed The Bling Ring. We have now discussed that. So now, Kenna, you don't have to discuss this movie ever again in your life. So if someone ever brings that up, you just play this.
I'll just play this video, show them. Yeah. This is my opinion on this movie. Please don't ask me again.
Yeah. So we're gonna head into intermission. Be sure to grab something from the concession stand. That's what supports this theater. And so, and then come back here as we discuss our second feature film, feature 2, which is known as Bad Words, and Diane will give a little description of that. So heading into intermission.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's intermission time. All these delicious treats are waiting for you at the refreshment stand. Delicious fresh popcorn, ice-cold cola, and candy you know and love. They're all ready for you now, so you won't have to miss any of the feature. Come and get them.
And now, on with the show.
There you go, Diane.
Oh, thank you so much, Cade. So I had the honor to get to review Bad Words. I'm going to try not to use any bad words while I do that. It's hard to do. Anyway, this was Jason Bateman's first feature movie that he's directed. The script was from The Blacklist, which Cade will talk about in a little bit. That was written by Andrew Dodge, and the story itself is about a man, 40-year-old man, who through a loophole in the rules enters the National Spelling Bee contest, and then the fun ensues from there. We have some really good characters in this movie. I have to point out Rachel Harris, who, for those that are Lucifer fans or Reno 911, she has some great scenes in this movie. It also has Catherine Hahn, who is one of my favorite all-time comedic actresses. So it's a comedy. It's supposed to be a dark comedy. And I think this is one that will be much better than The Bling Ring to review. Okay, Cade?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Did you get something from the concession stand? Great.
I got some popcorn.
It's good.
I refilled my water.
Yeah. Same. I got a big gulp.
I didn't refill my water.
I really enjoyed this movie. Of the two, this is the one that I enjoyed the most. And Jason Bateman is.
Oh, really?
Can be funny just looking at the camera. So you know that's. And I just wonder how many kids ended up in therapy, or if they had to have therapy before they were in the movie. You know, that's possible, I guess, because he pulls some pretty bad pranks on some of these children, which I'm pretty sure if you were those children's parents, you wouldn't like it very much. But anyway,
yeah.
And I loved Catherine Hahn in this movie. I just loved her. Don't look at me. I love that. And Rachel Harris, she's just her comedic timing is wonderful. Yeah, I don't know if you remember the blonde mom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had to be carried out of the spelling bee.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, what did you guys think of it without getting into specifics yet? I mean, I know Diane just did it. I guess that's a question to you, Kenna, since Diane basically went into the whole thing there.
Okay, so I actually really liked this movie.
Good. Yeah, I liked it. I think. Yeah. Go ahead, Diane.
If you're looking to spend an hour and a half on the couch and you're looking for a movie to watch, pick this one. I was laughing out loud within the first 5 minutes. This is the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. I'll tell you, it does a great job with it's like it's kind of like what situational comedy or whatever. Like it's the idea that like putting them in the putting him, he's in this ridiculous scenario, and I thought that was such a fun thing that they used to its fullest. Like that they explored all the different avenues of it. I love when a comedy takes its premise seriously and like just goes to 10 with it, and like you don't feel like any bits are like left, like it, but it's not like it's like it just keeps hitting the same things. It finds different ways to zig and zag, and it fully tells that story to its fullest. It's a very clever script. I think I was most as far from the craft of like the script goes, I love that everything had a setup and payoff. Like everything had these moments, and it was very like everything served a purpose. There was not a single scene or plot or just different things that was set up that didn't have some sort of payoff later or everything. It was very clever. It's used its time perfectly, and it was a tight story where everything serves some sort of greater goal in this comedy movie. That's great. This is kind of a bar for what comedy should be, I think. Yeah.
And the fact that you have a 10-year-old boy and a 40-year-old man that both have the same daddy issues in reality. That was pretty, and they bond over that, which is, was pretty great. In a bond, I don't know if you would call it bonding though. So.
Yeah.
There are some people who would consider that child abuse of some sort.
Yes.
Not many 10-year-olds can hold their liquor as well as that child did.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think it comes down to the fact that I guess like the kid's okay with it. So I guess that's the the line that they started. There's so many great bits in this.
Didn't you love Allison Janney in this?
Yes.
Her character. I mean, and the wig. I mean everything.
Like that is a person. Like that is a real. Like if you want to compare this to the Bling Ring, these are real characters in this, and these are real people. I mean, given we're comparing these Hollywood actors that's been around and these great character actors to people. This is like their first movie and stuff. But truthfully, like I'm really comparing the writing standpoint and the actors. The actors are amazing and they're brilliantly cast, but these are fully formed characters, and like you 100% get that, and you even see like there's so many people, different teachers, different things that I know of, like, oh, Allison Janney is that sort of archetype and plays it just perfectly.
Similar to Leslie Mann in the other movie, right? She took one scene and said, "This is who I am. You know who I am. You recognize me." Right off the bat. And she was able to do that with that. Allison Janney did that, as well as Rachel Harris. I keep bringing her up, but she played the parent that all these parents were, right? The overachieving, push your kid until they break kind of parent, and was willing to, murder him if she had to, for her kid to win.
Yeah.
So, I love that part of that.
Okay, let's get into our top 3. Kenna, what do you got?
Number 1, Jason Bateman.
Yeah, that's also that's my number 1 as well. Which is interesting because I got
I love it.
When I read like there was reviews, and it was sort of the consensus of the time. There were people. This was a well received movie. It did not do that well financially or anything. Wasn't a huge hit, but critics enjoyed it for the most part. But there were some criticism that the main character was heavily unlikable. that he was kind of annoying or whatever at times. But I didn't think.
Well, he was supposed to be.
He was supposed to be, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's like your anti-hero guy. Like, I mean, he's not the usual guy that you're rooting for, but I didn't find it hard to root for him.
Yes, like and I think that Jason Bateman is sort of perfect for that role of like, and I guess like, he signed on to direct it, and he had 2 other actors that he went to do it, and they both turned it down. And he's like, well, I guess I'll do it. And I can't imagine anybody else being able to thread that line of being charismatic and yet also just being a horrible person. But still having a heart to him and like having reasoning. Like that was like the intrigue of the movie, I guess, was the fact like, why is this guy doing this? That's constantly sort of brought up, and I thought that, there were several ways that in I guess a worse screenwriter that would have come off as like eye rolling or just very not. It would have come off as hammy. But I thought that it was written very well. That sort of twist or whatever you want to say, it wasn't really a twist as much as revelation, was handled really great, and it seemed very natural.
I don't think Jason Bateman could be unlikable. I don't care what he's playing; he just can't be unlikable. Of course, I have not seen The Gift.
The Gift. That's what I was going to say. The Gift.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Maybe it can be.
Yeah, he's great in that though. But, I kind of want to see more of that. If you guys haven't seen The Gift is great, and Jason Bateman, he plays probably the most unlikable that I've sort of seen him as, and but does it great. Like that's a great role. But yeah. Anything you want to say about Jason Bateman, Diane?
I think we've already said it all.
Great.
I thought he did. Yeah, his comedic timing has always been spot on. I wonder how much of what he did was improv, versus being scripted, because you could tell there were parts of it where, I think he's doing some improvisation here, because it's just more of the Jason Bateman that you expect from Arrested Development, etc.
Which Arrested Development, my favorite comedy show of all time, and Jason Bateman obviously is star of that. And he's oh my god, I'm a huge fan of Jason Bateman, and so you
could tell he brought some of his improv skill to that.
But I think a lot of it had to be scripted as well. Like a lot of it did probably come from the script of because of just how much is like called back or referenced or anything like that.
I was thinking of more along the lines of when he and the boy had their night out.
Oh yes, yeah. that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think that could have. I've written down here one of my favorite things. I love the Allison Janney scenes with the parents where they're all like angry that he's there, and all those scenes. And then they're like, one of my favorite ones was the guy. He's like I swear on my child's life that if you don't like get him out of here or something, I'm gonna. And then she later calls back and she's like, I also swear in your children's lives that if he's not out, there's just so many great little moments like that of just clever, funny jokes that it's just I don't know. There was a lot of things. It was an interesting color for a comedy film. I like when comedy films are a little bit are kind of look like they're more serious things. They're not shot very plainly, and there was a lot of intention behind it. A lot of greens and ambers. That was sort of the color palette was a lot of, which makes sense for the spelling bee for that to, I think that's sort of the color palette of, gold and green for a lot of that stuff. One of my
prep school looking.
Yes. one of my 3 is the friendship between Guy and the boy. That's the heart of the film. And
they share the same daddy issues.
Yes. Yeah. And that works so well.
That really.
Yeah. Diane, what's another one of your
the soundtrack. The soundtrack. We got the Beastie Boys. I mean, you guys are nodding, but you didn't. Yeah, there is some really good soundtrack there. And the guy who did the soundtrack, Ralph Kent, he did Legally Blonde 2. He's done a lot of the comedies that you see out there. he's one of those guys that you wouldn't think would be attached to a movie like this that is. So it makes you wonder if there's like a friendship there or something. He's like, oh yeah, I help you out.
Well, a lot of them know each other. That's sort of why, like,
yeah.
Jason Bateman was just able to call upon Catherine Hahn and a lot of these people to Allison Janney. That's what it was like, because he's worked with them, or they're just friends in the industry that you can sort of call on these people. And
they did a really good soundtrack too. Yeah, I like the soundtrack a lot. In that, you always hear the soundtrack, pay attention to it, but that was one that really stuck out to me as far as unusual. I love the fact that they had the Beastie Boys in it.
Yeah. You got any other one, Kenna?
So we've really hit all mine, but I do like, again, like the concept for this story. Like, it's interesting. It's not something you've seen a million times. It's an interesting new story, and I like that.
Yeah. And the sort of, getting, I guess, slightly into spoilers, it's, it's about his father, and that sort of thing, develops pretty great, and because there had been hints at that earlier, and there just been a lot of, like, I was like, initially I was like, the only thing that I had as a negative was like the narration that sort of came in a few different times, but then by the end of it, like the sort of reasoning why behind that, I was like, okay, never mind, I'm on board. Like every single thing, like that was when he rips up the paper, and then that sort of stuff, that was great, and there was just a lot of just very clever things that were in this movie that just sprinkled throughout that I really loved. I loved he steals Todd and he's burning him outside. That sort of then there's so many great moments of and then them going back and forth just when they're they're misspelling the words. Like there's just a lot of great comedy moments that it works great. Whereas like, so this one that I thought that whereas on the Bling Ring, one of my biggest problems was that they didn't give the characters a good why. This one is brilliant. It's simple. It's not like really complex as to why, but you really don't get a lot of like what his life is. Like he's still dealing with these childhood problems, and I think that's great. I think it's a simple thing, and it's a simple revenge story, I guess.
That's why it's so interesting, though, is like the route that he takes, like that he's going through this spelling bee. Like, what? Like to me, that is what I really enjoyed about it. Well, the only thing I did not like about the story. What?
Go ahead.
The only thing I didn't super love about the story is the ending, like how it all kind of got tied up and with a nice bow at the very end, and it was just exactly perfect, and it was over. And to me, I was like, oh, that's okay.
I think the police car was a little bit
yeah.
Took it a little bit far.
Very
all of
it.
It
that was kind of a throwaway.
A little bit funny. Yeah.
That was kind of a throwaway. It didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
I loved where they were they were intentionally spelling the words wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That part of the ending, and they should have just ended it there. Because they didn't need that.
But you needed that sort of resolve with his father, right? Like that was sort of the thing that you needed. And
yes, it was like closure that I wanted, but it was so pretty. It was just so too perfect at the end to me.
I thought that it did really great when he tears it up, and you're kind of like, oh my god, like that. And that was sort of like, and that I like that interaction at the pool. Like I thought that was like a really good interaction.
Yeah.
But then whenever because there was that moment where you're like, is he gonna tell you, or is he just gonna let you wonder?
Yes.
But then he tells him, and and I was just like, oh well, okay. I mean, that's fine, but it's not as interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like the way that they rolled out the reveal of why Jason Bateman's character was doing what he was doing. because they left you hanging like, why on earth is he doing this?
Mm-hmm.
For a long period of time until
intrigue
you
from
really
the very
established, until he's completely established the fact that he actually can spell.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just a fluke that he's there. He really can do this.
It had been set up
I
in a
love
previous
the beginning.
It had been set up in a previous conversation that they, with Catherine Hahn, that like it was just a throwaway line, but it ended up like these sort of genius strains or like knowing these things or whatever it runs in the family. Like there had been little things here and there that had sort of set up that really well. That sort of makes sense. Later, and the fact that his mom never allowed him to do spelling bees, like there was single throwaway lines that sort of made sense later, and I thought that was honestly clever. Yeah.
I love that his character is introduced as a guy who does proofreading of product manuals. Yeah. I cannot think of a more boring job than proofreading product manuals. My gosh.
And I liked how there wasn't like a lot of setup. It got right into it. It was just like, that's a line. That's a line, and it's not even important to the story. Like, it's like, we're right in there. It's he's doing this spelling bee to then qualify for this national thing. Like, it just gets you right in there. And then goes to the important thing. It doesn't like spend time with like, what is his house? Where's he, what's he doing? Where are these, it doesn't really do that. And it has a lot. It knows that like when to reveal the things. Like it knows like the catalyst pushing forward is like this. The audience, like you said, is wondering what is this guy's thing, and yet it puts that out at perfect opportunities. Okay, are we ready to do our ratings?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Diane, what are you going to give this?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to give it a 4. And this is the one that you want to, if you're looking for something to watch, and you want a movie, this is the one to watch. This is the one to get. Because it was very enjoyable. I enjoyed it immensely. Did I learn anything? I did not learn how to spell any of those words. I wasn't even sure those were real words there for a while.
I know. They gave him one, what was like flubbered.
It was like 24 letters long.
There was something, and it was whenever the mother character came out and she was like, I know what that means, but I was like, is that a real word or are they just like tricking him?
Yeah. Well, and like the whole thing is like that had been set up beforehand by Allison Janney's trying to put her finger on the scale.
Right.
And like it, and
But I didn't know in what way, like serving him real words or serving him harder words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that one, I was like, that doesn't even sound like a real word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you want a good popcorn movie, this is a good popcorn movie.
Yes.
It's satisfying.
Okay, Kenna, what are you going to give it?
Drum roll. I gave it 2 thumbs up.
Oh, okay. 2 thumbs up. You want to explain that at all?
Yep. I really enjoyed it. Like, I would watch it again. If it was still a thing where you buy movies, I would buy it to own it. Because I like it. I really do like it, and I would recommend it to people. So. And
we didn't talk too much
about.
There's some
jokes in there.
Yeah, go ahead. There's some jokes in there.
There's some jokes in there you would not get until you see it the second time. Mm-hmm. I'm sure
right.
There are jokes I missed. Yeah. And I know that they're going to be funny, so it'd be worth it to watch it again. I agree, Kenna.
Agreed.
And Kenna, that also Catherine Hahn. You say that's your celebrity lookalike or whatever, right? Is that what you said?
Yes. Are you, people have told me I look like Catherine Hahn. People have told me that. I think it's the strong jaw.
She is one of my.
Oh, I was very flattered.
I think she's one of the best comedic actresses out there. She's so good.
I agree.
Yeah.
I love her. I think she plays every role so well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I give it the police car emoji. Because
of the police car.
Because of the police car. And it was good. I don't know. Within the context of the movie, this is a real science as to which emojis I pick, obviously. And also, again, we're looking for a good audience member who can help with the conversion rate of these things. Because Yeah, I don't know. We're not on the same scale.
We
here.
know one of you is skilled.
Yeah. It's a little bit difficult in the sense of like there's only 5 stars. There's only a fluctuation of like 4 different thumbs and directions. But there's like 200 emojis. So might throw off the practice a bit. Okay, great. We are going to jump in to our preview time, in which we're going to preview our upcoming attractions. And that essentially means we're going to decide at random what our 2 movies for next week are. So see ya after this little musical interlude.
And now, preview time. When it comes to entertainment, you can't beat a good film. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Okay. When it comes to entertainment, you just can't beat a good film. I say that every time. Oh, I still have our things on here. Okay. Okay, so what we didn't come up with any connection to Twilight or Diana in this one. Technically one of the Bling Ring in real life's name was Diana. So
okay. Oh really?
Yeah. So
I know Jason Bateman is married to Paul Anka's daughter.
Okay.
So that was kind of interesting.
Well.
Okay, and then you know that Emma Watson was in the Harry Potter movies with Robert Pattinson, so I feel like we're connected.
There's your connection.
We it's good enough, I guess. Okay, what are you guys hoping for this week? What are you wanting to go back to horror? Are you wanting to?
No.
Okay, great.
No.
Are you
I
wanting?
never want to go back to horror again.
Are you wanting more comedy?
Anything but horror would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Anything.
I'm a comedy person.
Yeah, it was fun.
I
love a good comedy.
Yeah.
Would you rather watch a random, new, obscure, scary horror movie or The Bling Ring again?
Oh, a random, scary horror movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the scary horror movie.
Yeah. Or a movie, as on par with The Bling Ring. That's always possible. Okay, that's the luck of the draw here. Okay, so first one, Kenna, you want to give me a number from 1 to 10? We can always throw to Google. I have that option, but you guys like to do it. Here.
What 1 to 10 or 1 to 20?
1 to 20. 1 to 20.
Oh, okay.
Did I say 10?
You did.
Okay, sorry. 1 to 20.
Okay, I'm gonna go with number 3.
3.
Ooh, 3 for the month of March.
3 for the month of March. Okay, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I hope so.
We got it's a Taika Waititi movie. We got The Hunt for the Wilder People. Hunt for the Wilder People.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Andrew's joined us too.
Let's see.
Hi, Andrew.
So yeah, I think I know very little about that. It's supposed to be good. I would imagine there's some comedy in it. I think it's a comedy drama. I think is the idea behind it. I think there's some comedy in it because it's Taika Waititi, and you had to have some comedy in it there. Hunt for the Wilder People. That is our feature 1 for next week. Diane.
Woo-hoo. I did a good pick.
You did a good pick.
You did a good pick. Okay, so I'm going to go with 17.
17. Okay. We went from bad words to bad education. It's a it's on HBO Max. It's an HBO movie, I believe. It has again Allison Janney in it. So
cool.
It's Hugh Jackman, Allison Janney.
Ooh,
Nice.
I love Hugh Jackman. Okay, so what was the name of it again?
Bad Education.
Bad Education.
And no, Alex just commented, is it like Hunt for Red October? No.
I thought that you were gonna say the Hunt for Red October.
I thought you were too, and I was gonna I've seen that one.
How did that end up on this list?
So yeah, that's fun.
Bad Education says it's a drama.
It's a drama.
That's drama. That surprises me.
Yeah, no, that surprises me too.
Yeah, and it is on HBO. Thank goodness.
It's on HBO, and then I think Hunt for the Wilder People.
It's another Showtime, I swear.
Hunt for the Wilder People.
HBO.
It is on Netflix.
Oh, right.
Great.
Nothing is worse than having to pay $3.99 for the Bling ring.
I know. How painful is that?
Well, I think we may, if we dissuaded some other people to make that decision, then maybe that was worth it, right? We dissuaded them, told them not to.
Yeah, I mean, we might have saved somebody some money, I guess.
Yeah.
Not that I think that anybody would purposely go out and choose the Bling ring, would they?
I mean, I did purposely put it on
Emma
this
Watson.
list. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Then they turn it on, and it's the biggest disappointment of their life.
But she did the voice. That was some work, I'm assuming.
But
oh, that's right.
I didn't even think that was done well.
Could you do a better SoCal accent? Valley accent, Kenna?
Probably.
Okay, let's go. Go for it.
No, I have to listen to it.
Can you, Diane?
Whatever. Yeah. No, I couldn't do an English accent either.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if I don't know if anyone has anything else, I think that marks it for this. What's this? The third episode of Double Feature Movie Club. We made it 3, guys. Isn't that crazy?
Woohoo! 3 in
Yay!
the third month.
Yes.
And so, what movies have we actually recommended people go see? People actually go, yeah.
Watch. I think we recommended Spencer and Good Time, didn't we? On our first one, I think we all.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't recommend Good Time necessarily.
Yeah. I think
but Spencer, yes.
Spencer, we've seemed to have one that we really loved each time. Spencer. Well, I don't know. What's the one? I guess The Witch in comparison to Lights Out. I thought.
No, it was not. I wouldn't. Yeah. My recommendation is if you are like a film buff that's like totally into the art house movie, go. You'll enjoy The Witch. Mm-hmm. But if you like to pop some popcorn,
yeah,
grab a blanket, get on the couch, and watch a good movie. Yeah, that's not it.
And I was looking at
neither one of them were.
The Witch is the shortest movie that we've talked about, which is crazy. Still crazy that it does seem a little longer.
That and Bling Ring just seem to keep going.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I kept hoping they'd get caught.
Yes.
I know. I was like, in this. Just catch them.
Just catch them. Yeah. Well, I know. Yeah, I assumed that it was going to be quicker. This episode is really just us nitpicking Bling Ring to death. But yeah, I assumed that there was like going to be a slow progression or a progression each time. But like it was just like, I don't know. There was just like a 30-second scene where they're like, oh, footage, and then they just go back to whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did learn you can't mix your furs. You can't do leopard skin and zebra.
Fun fact.
The same outfit.
True.
My emojis were going to be a leopard and a zebra. That was what my rating was going to be, but decided just to go for a yawn.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
I decided. Even that pink pump, don't they have like a pink high heel?
Yeah. I ultimately thought there was a lot. I could have done a diamond, a ring. I mean, there was necklaces, but ultimately I was like, this movie doesn't deserve anything clever, and it's just getting a yawn.
That in
Fair enough.
Was it Paris Hilton that had the big feet?
Yeah.
They
Oh,
they were in her shoe closet and they said, "What? She has huge feet." And the guy came in wearing her
these
heels.
figures. Yeah.
They were like 11s. That's a big feet for a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
well, she's
that's
tall,
something else
too.
you learned.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. That I think that's it. We had some comments there at the end, but I don't know. It's people saying different things. But this was saying different things. They enjoyed the show. I think that they enjoyed the show. We got an applause from Ava
Yes.
here.
Ava.
We got
Yeah.
we got we got Andrew saying Spencer was great. Good time, wouldn't watch again. Andrew of Double Feature Movie Club fame and also so many sequels.
And trivia.
Yeah, Andrew.
And trivia, yeah.
Alex said, "Don't look at me." Reference.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Yes. Great
Yes.
reference.
Yes.
Great line. Great line from Bad Words.
Yes. Yeah. Pretty. Oh, didn't exit out that. Pretty standard stuff here.
Keep it there.
I'll keep it there.
We'll close out on that. Don't look at me.
Yeah.
Until
Don't look
next
at me.
Great.
And be sure and catch Andrew on So Many Sequels.
So many sequels. I think that they're doing something tonight, or I don't know. Oh,
Yeah,
so, yeah.
they should have one coming out tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Right, Andrew?
And yeah, so thank you for watching. This was fun. Next week we are watching what, Kenna? What was the first one? The Hunt for the Wilder People. And Diane with
Wilder People.
And Diane, what was your Bad Education? So Netflix,
Bad Education,
HBO, pretty simple if you have those.
Yay.
Yeah, great. Look forward to it. See you next time.
Bye.